What is going on, guys? So today I'm going to be starting on this beautiful 350Z that is behind me. Like I said in the other video, if you didn't catch it, it is a single turbo Gen 2. It's a 6870. It's in this bag right here. Big old turbo. Should make a lot of horsepower on this thing. I'm not sure exactly how much he's trying to build, but this is the beginning of this build process. So I'm going to be trying to stick the turbo right here in this corner right underneath the headlight. Trying to get it as high as I can get it, so that way the return line on it doesn't need a scavenge pump. So that way hopefully it'll still be gravity. Gravity will still be able to drain the oil out of it. Yeah, I don't really know what this nitrous line is, or nitrous solenoid is, but I forgot to talk to Brent about that. Like I said in the other video, I had to take the headers off because these are like some weird flanges, and they're not a normal 3-bolt. They're a little bit different, so I said, screw it, I'm just gonna take the headers off, chop these flanges off, weld some 2-inch V-bands to them, which I've got in this box. All of it's gonna be at a nice stainless. You guys already know how we roll here. Nice stainless, V-bands, everything. It is gonna be separate banks, hopefully. So both header to be kind of like, not a true twin scroll, but it'll be somewhat like a twin scroll setup. Yeah, let me get these flanges chopped off, and we'll start working on this 350Z. So I got the headers on the 350Z, and the V-bands obviously welded to them. You can't see them because it's so dark in there, but I was working on this side, getting it tacked up. It is a super tight fit, obviously. As you can see, there is no room to run it in between the motor and the motor mount up in there, because the alternator and the power steering pump is in the way, and then also this oil sandwich plate or whatever it is, and these oil lines for the oil cooler on the way. I'll get a better shot of that later. Obviously that's not very optimal, being in between the lower control arm like that and the sway bar, but that is the only option unless I want to run it underneath the subframe, and I don't want to do that because it'll be super low like that. So to kind of reenact how it'd be like on the ground and on the road, I just put a jack stand underneath the rotor, and I lowered the jack down to load the suspension up, kind of get it to sit where it would be ride height. I am going to double check it obviously and put the wheel back on it and set it on the ground and see how much space we have, but I have about ½ an inch so far where the suspension can come up and it doesn't hit when the suspension unloads on the sway bar. Doesn't hit on the sway bar when the suspension unloads, so we're good there. I really don't like this side. I really wish I could run it somewhere else, but this is all I've got to work with, so there's not a whole lot of room. But I just kind of got that side ran to see if I could do it and how it was going to look. So right now I'm going to work on trying to figure out a way to mount the turbo where I want it, and kind of figure out where I'm going to tie into on this car to put the bracing from that holds the turbo. So to brace it, I'm just basically going to weld something to this flange, which this is going to bolt to the turbo obviously, and this will be the collector. I'm going to use this stainless rod that I have here and obviously weld it to this thing somehow, some way, and attach it to the frame of the car probably, so that way it's got some bracing to it. So yeah, that's what I'm working with. I'm going to try to see if I can use the thing that I made to hold the turbo in place, this little thing over here. It's kind of hidden by all this junk, but I'll show you what it looks like when we get it out, because I need to find a way to hold it, and it's really hard to hold that heavy ass, big ass turbo by yourself. Did get the turbo mounted obviously. I did do a live stream last night and was kind of working on making this bracket, so those of you who saw that, you already know how it kind of looks. But it just bolts into the frame over there on the side, and let me see if I can get back there. It's obviously got bracing on it to the flange. It is I mean, it definitely does move a little bit still, so I'm gonna have to brace it a little bit more. I'll probably run one from here up to this bolt somewhere so it can't move like up and down as much. And obviously I still gotta weld it fully. It's just kind of tacked up right now, just so I can let it sit there, and so I can lower it down and see how everything looks. Yes, as you can see, it is close to the tire, and that is just what we're gonna have to deal with because we ain't got no room. We got these big ass wheels and tires on here. So I already talked to the owner. He doesn't mind it. And at first we were gonna do a bumper exit on it, but now he does want it to have basically a full exhaust, and we were just gonna put a boost actuated cutout switch on it. And so the downpipe's just gonna obviously run through there and down and around. This is actually like a revision of how the turbo is mounted. So before it was mounted so it faced straight ahead, and I made this little bracket over here for it. This is the other one I made for it, but we obviously ditched that because we needed to run a full exhaust on it and just didn't really like how it fit there. So we got this like this. I do have this side over here somewhat marked and tacked up a little bit, so I need to work on it. I got some pie cuts I need to add to the end of it, so I need to do that right now and then kind of see how it's gonna fit. So it's really tight space down in there. It's hard to film anything. So let me try to tack this up real quick. So I did get the other side tacked up, and I kind of wire wheeled them a little bit to make the tubing look a little bit more like the elbow, since the elbows look all nice and shiny and whatnot. Got my purge set up. I'm gonna start purging it. Still need to acetone wipe them down, but yeah, need to weld this real quick. Not sure how much further I'll get today, but I think I made some pretty decent progress. It's almost kind of weird. They almost look like mirrored, but I mean, I guess it makes sense. But this one runs like underneath the control arm, so it should be pretty sick though once it's done. So I have made some progress on the 350Z. I didn't film too much of it because I've been trying to bust ass and get this done, but I'll show you guys what I have done. This is kind of not really like a collector, but this is kind of how it goes off the flange and how it sits in there. It sits in there kind of like that, so both sides just kind of 90 out, 190's down, 190's the other way. Should work pretty good. Still need to weld that. I got everything all fitted up last night, and I was gonna weld it last night, but it was like 2 o'clock and I was super tired, and I figured I'd weld better when I had some sleep. But show you kind of what this looks like in here. Yeah, so this side kind of looks like this. It goes to that one collector, or the one piece that kind of 90 sideways, and then this one just kind of, it has this other piece here that goes here, and it comes up kind of like that or so, something like that. But this piece just runs right along underneath, right between the sway bar and the radiator. It has these flex joints in them. They're bellows. I've never used them before. I know that some people have had some bad issues with them tearing apart, so I'm hoping they don't tear apart. But yeah, we'll see, I guess. They normally work pretty well, but hoping I don't have no problems with them. I gotta mount the intercooler, so I gotta do like a downpipe. I was gonna do a bumper exit on it, but this guy wants a full downpipe, so it's gonna have to somehow run underneath here and back around to the lower control arm. I don't know, it'll be real fun to do that, but I got a lot of welding I gotta do today. This will probably take me a good amount to weld, but yeah, slowly making some progress on this crazy ass 350Z. Hopefully you guys can see this pretty decent, but I didn't show too much of like the actual fab part of this, so just wanted to show you kind of how both sides ran. So I did get those V-bands welded on the ass headers, like I said, and then it just kind of comes off, comes around, and this side does run through the lower control arm over here like this, and it clears everything. It's kind of tricky because this thing moves as you turn the wheels, so I had a clearance for that too. Really pain in the ass, but yeah, it just goes there. On this side, it's kind of like the same deal, but this is V-band off the header. Comes down around, comes through. Then this one actually, I don't know if I'll be able to get a light in there to show you, but runs through the motor mount area and around the block. It's a really tight fit, obviously, as you can tell. Runs there, and then it comes around over into here. Goes in between, up above the sway bar here. It doesn't hit, obviously. And then just straight over to the collector like that. Just wanted to kind of show that since I didn't really show how they kind of fit inside the car, but yeah, really tight fit. Alright, so I did get everything welded. As you can see, this is kind of what I was talking about, but I got a V-band here from the other side that runs underneath there, right along the sway bar, and this one comes right over here. Got these bellows in them. Yeah, I still gotta weld this, I forgot, but yeah, it's basically done. That'll take me just a little bit to weld. The collector is fully welded though, so I still need to, man, that turbo looks so sick. But I still need to obviously make the intercooler piping. I gotta run the return line. This did used to have twin turbos on it, so there is a return line fitting on the other side of the pan also that I gotta put a plug in, so gotta do that. Gotta do intercooler piping. I'm waiting on making the downpipe. As you can see, like I said before, it's gonna be a really tight spot. Gonna have a lot of pie cuts. It's gonna be really fun. Was gonna make this 2 parts. This video 2. Actually, no, so I was gonna make this video all one video, everything, the downpipe, the intercooler piping, the feed return. But since I have so much footage already of just making the crossovers from the manifolds, I'm gonna make it just one video, just have this be part 1, just make another part 2 for it, for the downpipe and intercooler piping. And I'll actually go into depth of making the downpipe and intercooler piping since I never have. Should be pretty fun. This is gonna be a wild ass setup on this one because we're gonna actually run through, shit, let me do this real quick. We're gonna run through down in here, down through that lower control arm right there. It's pretty dark, but you can see it. Lower control arm and the sway bar, and it's gonna have a boost actuator cutout on it, so it's gonna be wild. So be sure to stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching. Charlie's all screaming in there. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe, like this video, whatever the hell you wanna do, comment some rude shit, whatever the hell you wanna do. Thanks for watching.